Vince Staples just dropped a new track with Mustard, and it's magic. Seeing as his last album, Vince Staples, the self-titled album, was one of my favorites from last year, his upcoming release, Ramona Park Broke My Heart, is probably going to be really good as well. So, without further ado, let's break down the lyrics to Magic. If you're new here, these breakdowns are where I go through and read out the lyrics to a song and give my interpretation of what the artist is trying to say. My interpretations are not always correct, and I do miss things, so if I miss something or misinterpret anything, please let me know in the comments below. That way everyone gets to learn. So the track starts off with the chorus.
Feeling like I'm floating to the ceiling, is it magic? Baby, tell me why you disappearing, is it magic? I won't never tell him how I did it, it was magic. Can you imagine?
Floating to the ceiling, is it magic? He's basically just saying like all these things that, magicians will do, like you're floating or you disappear. And he just wants to know, like, is it magic? Like how you do it? Because he's like, I won't ever tell him how you did it. Like you're not supposed to, a magician's not supposed to tell you how they do tricks. Like kind of unfair and cheating. You're not supposed to know that unless you're a magician. But he's like, how is this happening? And then it goes on to say,
Honey in the mattress, love the way I stack it. I can make it rain blue, honeys, can you catch it? If somebody come through bluffing, I'ma blast them and tell the police I don't know what happened.
So then he's just kind of listing off, this money that he's got. It's tucked away in the mattress, and if someone tries to come through and get their way in, he's gonna blast them. And if the police happen to show up, he's gonna act like nothing happened or he didn't know what happened. So this chorus at first, when you just kind of listen to it, sounds very pleasant and kind of like almost like a love-ish song, which again, appropriate because Valentine's Day, but also because Ramona Park broke my heart. So this is more than likely, I'm just kind of thinking out loud here, more than likely a part of this album in a conceptual manner. So whether this is actually an event that happened or something that he's kind of tying together on his own. Like this person that he's seeing doing all this magic, maybe someone he was involved with, or it may just be Ramona Park itself. Like you have all these things happening in that area, and this could also be related to what someone else does. This then goes into the verses.
If I gave a fuck about a sitch, I'd always be broke. I never get to pull up in the bins when my locs. Growing up, we was post, so we hopped off that post with a gun, trying to kick down your door.
So this line is in direct reference to Corrupt's verse on Snoop Dogg's Doggy Style. But Sitch because Crippin'. If he ever gave a fuck about a bitch, he'd always be broke. Like he'd be spending money on her. And he would never get to pull up in a Benz with his lokes, like his homies. Like he'd never be able to just ride around. And then he goes on to say, growing up, we was poor. So we hopped off that porch with a gun trying to kick down your door. So this kind of gives you another, look or explanation for quote unquote gang life. Like this, people do these things, like not even gang life necessarily. This is just like people will steal because they need to. Like, there's a reason for it, So they're gonna rob you because they was poor. So they're like, all right, bet, let's get this money.
With that soul news, spreading love now. Sick of police lights, sick of gun sounds. Niggas bread ain't up, so they come foul. But it's handshakes, hugs when I come around. Wow.
So he mentioned all these things that were in the past, but that's old news. He's spreading love now. It's all love. He doesn't want to deal with the police lights and gun sounds. And then he talks about these guys who, they don't have their bread up, so they don't have the money right now, so they come foul. Like, they're kind of hating. But when he comes around the neighborhood, it's all handshakes and hugs. So it's like, these people are hating on him, maybe, just because they don't have money, but he does. Which is a pretty common trend in a lot of music situations. Like, people feel kind of envious of you for getting up out of where you came from and making money.
Funny style, hate to see a nigga smiling. 100 miles and running through the bullet housing. Moving mountains, fuck who I was thumping down with. Gunning down shit, sitting in the back of Crown Vic.
And then continuing, like just kind of referencing what I just said about people kind of hating and, you know, just acting fake when he comes around. Like it's funny. Like y'all hate to see me smiling, but then when I'm coming around the hood, it's all hugs and what the fuck? 100 miles running through public housing, moving mountains. Fuck who I was done with, gunning down shit, sitting back in Crown Vic. Just kind of referencing the things that he had done in the past, possibly. And the Crown Vic potentially being a police car because he's in the back of it, and that is, I think, still majority of police cars are Crown Vics.
So janky. Know them niggas down the street still hate me. Hope little baby know that she can't play me. Dumb hoe, love cost, but the game free. Dumb hoe.
So this kind of makes it sound more like he is talking about a person he was involved with. So like, nah, you can't play me. Like, we together. Like you can't mess with me. Or, you know, just kind of go behind his back and all that shit. Before that, he said, so janky, know them guys down the street still hate me. I'm like, yeah. I mean, those are probably the same people who hate when you're not there, but when you show up, they faking with you. Love costs, but the game free. Dumb hoe. I don't know why he had to say that, but maybe if she's trying to play him. But love costs. Like, you gotta put some work into it. But the game free, like he's gonna spit game for free. But if he's gonna love you, he's gonna basically invest his time. Like talking about game is nothing to him. This then goes back into the chorus, and then we get the second verse.
Crippin' blood shit. That's the only thing I ever been in love with. So I hope you know he never going public. Hands full, so I can't hold grudges. Nah.
Crippin' blood shit, gang shit. I mean, if you listen to Vince Staples' music, that's kind of where it's at. Or what he talks about. That's the only thing he's ever been in love with. Like, I guess if we're to say that love costs, and if we're saying that it's like an investment and he puts time into it, then yes, he put time and invested his time into Crippin' blood shit. Hope we know we never go in public. I think that's just talking about the person that he's involved with. Like, we ain't going public. Like, it's kind of like the whole superhero thing. Like, once a villain knows your identity, they're gonna go after the people that you care about. So it's kind of like that. But also, he just maybe trying to be private. But you could also be like public in a monetary sense, like a business. But I don't think that's where he's going. Hands full, so I can't hold grudges. Yeah, I mean, he's too busy to hold grudges. Like, you have all these people hating on him, and, you know, for no reason really. But he's above that essentially because he doesn't have the time to deal with it.
I be thugging, jumping out the backseat bus. Everybody we be beefing would be saying that they bleeding shit, but see us and they don't do nothing. Oh, put it on the deadlocks.
Thugging, jumping out of the backseat bussing. Like, just regular things that he was doing back in the day. And then everybody that they were beefing with said they were bleeding. Like, either their bloods or whatever set they rep, they bleed that set, essentially. To the point where if you come to them, they're gonna fight. But there were times where they would see them and nothing would happen. And then he's like, I bet. Put on the dead lokes. Like, you really like that? Like, kind of like saying, put it on mamas. You won't do it. You won't lie.
They know I've been about it since the get-go. If I hit the corner clicking, better get low. You ain't with it, nigga, with you from the set phone. I just wanna be successful.
They know I've been bad about it since the get-go. He's always been like this. He's always been about it. Since the jump, from the jump. He's always been this guy. And you aren't with it. Like, what are you even from the set for? Like, you don't rep it like that. You don't do the things that I do. So what are you doing? And he just wants to be successful.
Yeah. You will never ever see me with my head low. Mama met my daddy, then they had me in the ghetto. Handed me a 38 and told me I was special. Yes, I am. North.
Because he wants to be successful, you'll never see him with his head low. He's never just kind of like looking down. He's always looking up or looking forward. Like, he's going to keep it pushing. And then Mama met his daddy in the ghetto, and they had him in the ghetto, sorry. And then handed him a 38 and told him he was special. 38 special, the gun, which also I think is in reference to the gun that he was talking about on his self-titled album. That was cool. And then we get a bit of an outro from Mustard, which is essentially just wrapping things up and talking about this magic. Basically, like, when you come from nothing and you make it into something, that's luck. But when you come from where we come from, like him and Vince, that's magic. Basically, like, it's because of where they come from, it's almost like less than nothing, maybe, is what he's trying to say. Like, it's just so much harder for people in their situation to excel and get to where they are today. So that's magic. Like, yeah, you can have nothing and make it into something, and that could be luck or persistence, I guess. But it essentially what he's saying is, like, what happened to them is different. It's magic. Because if you really look at it, like, there's not, like, if it was easy, or if it was able, like, if anyone was able to do it, more people would be doing it. At least that's kind of what I think he's getting at. Like, it's magic. And that's the song. I really like this song. There's not a whole lot to talk about, I'd say. But in the scheme of the whole album, I'm pretty sure it'll make a lot more sense, and it'll be a very, like, strong part of that album. It also does sample "It Was a Good Day" from Ice Cube. No, not "It Was a Good Day." You Know How We Do It. Jesus. And you hear that play in the background every so often. But it's such a good beat. And I saw something that someone said that, oh, I'm glad that Vince Staples is really leaning into his West Coast heritage. And I'm like, you leave him alone. He can do whatever he wants. Like, yeah, this is the sort of music, I guess, that most people wanted from Vince Staples. But that sort of comment is the same. It's probably coming from the same type of person that didn't like his self-titled album or any of his more experimental stuff. Which, fair. But I personally enjoyed everything he's done. Some more than others, like Big Fish and FM, I didn't care for as much, but I still really liked a couple songs off of each of them. So overall, I enjoy Vince Staples. But this album seems to be a bit more, I guess, personal. It sounds like a love story based off the title, like Ramona Park Broke My Heart. Like, so we're probably going to get a bit more personal than he has been, even though he does tend to get pretty personal with his music. But regardless, I'm excited. I don't know what sort of sounds we're going to be getting, because this is the lead single for it, or I guess we can assume it is. But there's totally a chance that he'll go in a different direction. I mean, with the Vince Staples project, it sounded almost entirely different until we got to the end of the album, where it sounded a bit more typical. So, anything's possible. I think I saw someone say that the album's supposed to be coming out in April. If that is the case, we're probably going to get another single before then, so we'll get a better idea of how the album's going to sound. But I'm excited. Like I said at the beginning, Vince Staples' self-titled project was one of my favorites of last year. So I think this has the potential to be on this year's top 10 list as well. But that's enough rambling for me. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this track, and if I missed something or misinterpreted anything, because, like I said, totally possible that I missed something. Also, like and subscribe if you want to see more content and breakdowns like this. Thank you for watching, and please stay safe out there.